Data sovereignty means different things to different people. The easiest way to explain it is people used to think the internet, cyber, was something that was off limits and anything goes. People can operate there free of all laws and regulations. Now, data sovereignty is people saying, no, that's not the case. We want to have control over what happens. Data sovereignty is tricky because control over physical space is easy. Governments obviously can control their territory. And in theory, governments can control what happens in the cyberspace within their territory and where data is held on their territory. But unfortunately, data doesn't stay in one territory. Data can flow at the speed of light right around the world. Well, we probably all use the cloud at some point. For example, Microsoft 365 is an example of a cloud provider. Dropbox, Google Docs, all of those are cloud providers, but where is that data actually stored? It's probably not in New Zealand. It's probably in those companies' servers, maybe in Australia, maybe even further afield. So what I've done in my work is to look at how New Zealand's legal infrastructure fits in with the technological infrastructure. And those two things I found did not actually match up very well. The law is always behind technology, but leaving that aside, I don't think the designers of our law really thought through some of the implications. The Privacy Act is weak because it makes a distinction between Agency A and Agency B. So if Agency A gives Agency B information to process on its behalf, Agency A is supposed to be holding the information, not Agency B. That gives Agency B a get out of jail card. And the worry there is that these companies that are supposedly just holding the information for somebody else could, in the background, quietly be using that data to train their algorithms and do analytics on it and a whole lot of things beyond the original brief. And there's no accountability or safeguards for that other than the contract between the two agencies. And there's nothing in the law requiring there to be safeguards. Large agencies, large companies, and even government departments use cloud providers. And often these cloud providers are providing the services onshore, in other words, in New Zealand, to make sure that the data doesn't leave New Zealand. But even that is problematic because those companies providing the services, their employees have access to that data, and if they're owned by a foreign company, if the foreign company's government might still ask them for access to that. So just because the data is stored in New Zealand doesn't mean it cannot be accessed from outside of New Zealand. And that is a concern when you have sensitive data or government data.